Hello, everyone. I'm Nate Truex, and you're listening to the Croccast Podcast.
Hey guys, before the episode starts, I want to let you know that there's a little announcement at the end. Uh, with that out of the way, I hope you guys enjoy the episode. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. The Croccast Podcast. I'm your host, Nate, and today I'm joined by Dr. Samuel Hilevski, a biologist with a PhD in veterinary science. Sam, welcome to the show.
Hi, Nate. Thank you for the invitation and having me in your podcast.
It's my pleasure. So, get started off. What got you into reptiles, and why did you decide to get into veterinary science?
Well, Nate, I am biologist. I was at the beginning of my studies when I decided to work with crocodilians. I was in my second year of studies, and a friend who was doing his research to obtain his biology degree invite me to help him to collect his data, and let me see, it was a field trip, you know. He was conducting a diet study with Orinoco Crocodile, and since then I became very interested in this group of animals. I remember that on that field trip, we went out to midnight to catch spectacle caimans. You know, I remember of that was just for funny on, and he tried to teach me how to do this. But the the truth is that the spectacle caiman caught me.
Yeah.
Nothing serious happened, but it just beat me in my foot. And since from that moment, I couldn't stop to wanting to learn and increase my knowledge about these animals. After becoming a biologist, I looked for a way to keep moving forward. People recommended me to do a PhD. Someone told me that in Argentina there was a very interesting and recognized crocodile research group that is the Project Jacare. That is how I got here in Argentina and did my PhD in veterinary science.
All right. And what has been your career experiences been up to until now?
Well, I've done a little bit of everything. The first thing that I was able to apply my knowledge that I learned at the university was a guide of the botanical garden. I explained it to the people about the ecological importance of the tree or the related themes. I was also a field assistant in a project that investigate cocoa forests as carbon reservoirs. I count many plants during that time. We took many measurements of height, estimate the height of the plants. This was a very hard work. It was also a field assistant in a project by Nat Geo and the University of Rio Grande Valley of Texas. This was incredible. I studied biology of the small parakeet in the Venezuelan llanos, and we made sightings, captures, banding, and studied their reproductive behavior. I have worked with population ecology of two species of crocodilians, the American crocodile and the Orinoco crocodile, both in Venezuela. The work with American crocodile was my research to obtain my biology degree. It was really incredible. I made a night service with the spotlight without moon, sorry, in the middle of the brackish lagoon near of the sea. it was like floating in the space with crocodiles to run. Then as member of the crocodile specialist group of Venezuela, I collaborated in the national census of the population of these species, and there I was able to learn very close from the hand of many experts. Then I came to Argentina, and here I focus on the nutrition of the broad-snouted caiman, mainly trying to include soybean meal in the food for these species raised in captivity, with the aim to improve the growth of the individual at lower production cost. Very important within the sustainable management and conservation programs of these crocodilians. I have studied other aspects of the captive breeding of crocodilians, such as the ophthalmological and skin disease, and their relationship with the skin tone, or the breeding density to optimize their growth. I have evaluated some behavioral aspects, such as self-recognition, recognition, and communication between embryos during incubation period. That is the my experience.
All right, great. So why did you decide to focus on caiman farming slash ranching, and what role does it play in crocodilian conservation?
To me, all about the conservation the crocodilian. Until 70s and 80s, most the population of different species of crocodilian were endangered due to the intensive hunting, because the high value that their skin has. This resulted in the creation and implementation on multiple sustainable management and conservation plans for these species. All these management plans have one stage in common: the breeding and the maintenance of the animals in captive, to later release it and restore the natural population, as well as to produce their skin and to supply the market demand. I must clarify that much of the money generated from the trade of crocodilian products is destined to support different research and conservation projects for this species. So, at this point, I identified that the stage of breeding in captive is crucial for the management of the tight budget that is handled in this program, being a key for the conservation. Do you know that 60% of the budget of breeding management program is destined for just for feeding of these animals? Well,
I did not know that.
yeah, it's a lot of money, and that's why I focused on how to improve the diet of this animal and improve the economic productive equation of the farming ranching programs, which allow better solvency in the management of budget, allowing to allocate more funds to research and development.
All right. And what led you to see if caiman's diet could be replaced with soybean meal, and what were your findings?
Well, this question has two answers. We go with the first. I worked for 6 years to developing this answer. You know, the first thing I should say that for many people, crocodilians are strict carnivores, that the findings of plant material in the stomach of some species of crocodilian is due to accidental consumption, try to capture their prey, or because their prey consuming it previously. In the 80s and 90s, some attempts were made to include soybean meal as ingredient in the diet of species raised in captivity, mainly in saltwater crocodile and American alligator. However, due to the disponibility of the wide variety of animal proteins in this country, like Australia or United States, this didn't prosper. Let's say that it didn't make much economic difference. Although the results were positive, the digestibility and the absorption of this ingredient by crocodilians was equal or better than any other animal protein. Then there are two studies that change the paradigm that crocodilians are only carnivores. The first of these studies compared the shape of the teeth of the ancestor of crocodilian versus the shape of the teeth of the current reptiles and mammals. In this study, the author conclude that the ancestor of crocodilians had a heterodont dentition, similar that current species. That is, they could exploit different food niches, such herbivory or omnivory. Evolutionary, crocodilians have not changed much. They are even often called living fossils. So, if they previously have adaptation for the consumption of plant, it's not crazy thing that there are may still the evolutionary relics in their digestive system. That all of them absorb plant nutrients today. The second study compared the absorption of plant nutrients by the true crocodiles and the alligatorids between these two families, and they conclude that the alligatorids absorb these nutrients better than the true crocodiles. So, about my feelings, we were able to observe that the consumption of diet with salt content had a higher consumption rate than the diet without soybean meal. In addition, we proved that the brown-snouted caiman can digest and take advantage of these plant nutrients. This led us to say that the consumption of plant material is probably not accidental, and it is deliberate as a strategy to keep food in their digestive tract for a longer time, allowing better absorption of these nutrients. The brown-snouted caiman can grow and gain weight with diets that include up to 25% soybean meal, just like diets composed with 100% of animal protein. This diet with soybean meal can stimulate the growth of the intestinal villi of this species, which is translated into a great absorption of nutrients of the diet. Likewise, soybean meal does not interfere with the health of the animal, as they maintain the values of the blood biochemistry equal to the standard reported to these and other species. On the contrary, I will say that improve them as they decrease the amount of triglycerides and cholesterol in the blood, which reduce the risk of cardiovascular diseases. Because of all this, in our later research, we dare to say that the broad-snouted caiman is not a strict carnivore, but is a facultative one because it's able to include plants in its diet if he require. And the second answer, it was a conversation among friends with a beer, and they asked me if the crocodile could eat plants, and that is the origin of my idea to include soybean meal in the diet of the crocodilians.
Okay, great. So what are some of the other measures used to aid in crocodilian farming?
Well, there are many factors to consider. I will say there are three, the most important one. First will be the diet. This can vary according the budget and the objective of the breeder. Beyond this, the diet is important, and this provide the energy and the nutrients necessary for the crocodilians grow, to keep healthy and strong. To me, the diet is the main way to keep the animal healthy during the breeding period. I will say that the density of the animals in the breeding pens is crucial too, because crocodiles from an early stage of age are gregarious animals that need the other individual of their same species to grow properly. But it is not suitable to place many animals together. And finally, the temperature. Crocodilians are ectotherms. That mean that their metabolism depends of the ambient temperature. For example, temperature has effect on behavior of food intake, of the immune system, among others. Some other parameters to consider for the breeding of crocodilians can be the photo period, the water quality, and the handling.
All right. So what are some of the threats facing the broad-snouted caiman, and how does their future look in the wild?
Well, in my opinion, I believe that today all species of crocodilians, not just the broad-snouted caiman, face the same two main threats: the decrease or banning of the trade of crocodilian products and the loss and fragmentation of their habitat. As I mentioned before, trade has played an important role in the management and the conservation plan of the crocodilians and the restoration of their natural population of some species. Today, the continuity of some of these conservation plans and the founding of their research project are at risk due to the emergence of certain protectionist currents. I don't mean that say that I against them, but I believe that all the efforts, the scientific evidence, the positive results that have been generated through years of work or suitable management plan for crocodilian has not been taken in account. On the other hand, the increase of the global temperature, the waste generation, the industrialization, and the advancement of the agriculture are real threat to the crocodilians. Although it is like that we may not able to see these effects of this threat directly on the population of these animals. That is a decrease in population numbers, but it's very likely that in the future, genetic damage and mutation that affect the survival of these animals and indirectly affect the population will be manifest.
Okay. So what makes broad-snouted caimans unique from other species of caiman?
This is a difficult one. I believe that what makes the broad-snouted caiman special among other species is that it has the southern and most distribution of the continent. It is a counterpart of alligator mississippiensis in North America, in USA. Here in Argentina is the most shortest distribution. And I could also mention that it has the shortest and the most rounded snout of all the species.
Hence the name. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what has been your work with Crocodilus intermedius, the Orinoco crocodile?
Yeah. My work with Orinoco Crocodile has focused on its ecology and conservation. I had the opportunity to participate in the last national census of this species in Venezuela, specifically in the census carried out in Matillure River. This is a branch of the Orinoco River. This work allowed us to determine the current state of the population throughout the country and their trend. That is, whether their numbers have increased or not. The results were positive, as in general the population were found to be stable compared with the data from previous research. And in addition, we found that new small populations of Orinoco crocodiles were discovered in places where they were not previously found, or where the people believe no longer to be. This reflects the teamwork of the group of researchers that make up in the crocodile specialist group of Venezuela, which has been dedicated to the conservation of this species for over 30 years. I also took part in a research titled Discovering the Ancestral Origin of Crocodilus in South America, an expedition to amazing and complex Orinoco Delta. This research seeks to elucidate the moment when the species of Crocodilidae or Crocodilidae family were present on the South America continent and diverged, if they did. However, to my bad luck, this was carried out during the pandemic time. I couldn't not attend, and it was terrible and awful to me, man. But nothing. I had to continue. More recently, we published research in which we determine what is the optimal animal density for the breeding of these species.
All right. So, how does stock intensities affect Orinoco crocodile captive breeding?
Well, as mentioned before, crocodiles at early age are gregarious animals. We can have too many or too few animals together, as it wouldn't be effective or optimal for their growth over the time. We can put many animals together as it's generated a lot of stress and competition among them for food. This causes them to hurt each other and their health to deteriorate, avoiding their growth properly. Or the opposite case, if there are a few animals, let's say that the stimulus to allow them to eat is not generated. That's why the breeding density is quite important in this case. However, we have to take in account that the concept of stocking density for the breeding of crocodilian is linked or has a relationship with the concept of a space. I mean, we can use the optimal stocking density of, for example, 1.8 square meters for individuals of the 50 centimeters, However, the available space is not the same for animal for of the 70 or 80 centimeters of the total length. It's the same number of animals, but and it's the same density, but the animals are larger and the space is smaller. It's something to consider when we want to optimize the growth of these animals.
All right. And on that note, do you have any final message for the listeners?
Well, I can only express my gratitude to all those who listen us. I'm available to answer any question you may have. I want to thank you, Nate, again for the invitation. And remember, guys, don't forget brush your teeth because it's something that crocodiles can never do.
All right. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Nate. I am available when you want asking me something related to crocodilians or something related another thing about reptiles or ecology. Just tell me.
Thanks.
Thank you, Nate.
All right. Thanks for sticking around for the entire episode. I just want to give you guys a heads up that the podcast does have an official Instagram page. So you can find me on Instagram at crocast_podcast. That's crocast, CROCKAST_podcast. I'll be trying to do some more polls and follower interaction on there in the near future. So if you want to go hop on over there and give it a follow, that's where I announce when new episodes are published. So just give it a follow and you'll be up to date on all the new stuff with the podcast. Thanks. Bye.